We are living through the beginning of a new industrial revolution. If you look back at history, every major leap in human civilization was defined by the way we harnessed energy and the way we processed information. In the first industrial revolution, we harnessed steam and water to automate manual labor. In the second, we harnessed electricity for mass production. In the third, we used the silicon chip to automate basic calculation. But what is happening right now, at this very moment, is fundamentally different. We are no longer just building tools that follow instructions. We are building intelligence. This is the iPhone moment for artificial intelligence, but it is moving 1,000 times faster than anything we have seen before. The transition we are witnessing is the shift from a world of general-purpose computing to a world of accelerated computing and generative AI. And at the heart of this shift is a fundamental realization. The way we have built computers for the last 60 years is no longer sufficient for the future we are creating. Lately, people have been talking about a war between ecosystems, between the closed, refined world of consumer devices and the open, massive world of the AI factory. They look at Apple and they look at NVIDIA and they see a conflict. But to me, this isn't a war of companies, it's a divergence of philosophies. For 60 years, the industry lived by the grace of Moore's law. We expected that every couple of years, transistors would get smaller, CPUs would get faster, and the world would just keep turning on the same axis. But physics has a way of asserting itself. You can only shrink a transistor so far before the heat and the power consumption become insurmountable. Moore's law is dead. It isn't just resting, it's over. And because Moore's law is dead, the traditional way of building computers, relying on a central processor to do everything, has hit a brick wall. At NVIDIA, we realized this nearly 30 years ago. We saw that the future wasn't going to be about faster CPUs running serial instructions. The future was going to be about parallel processing. It was going to be about the GPU becoming the heart of the machine. We took the first principles approach. We asked ourselves, if we had to simulate the entire universe, how would we build the engine? We didn't look at what others were doing. We didn't try to fit into the existing market. We decided to build a new architecture that would fundamentally change the relationship between the human and the machine. We chose the hard path. We chose to solve the problems that nobody else wanted to touch because they were simply too difficult. People see NVIDIA today and they see a trillion-dollar company, but they don't see the scars. They don't see the moments where we were facing absolute extinction. In 1996, we were a tiny company and we were effectively failing. We had already spent most of our venture capital on our first chip, the NV1, which was a technical marvel but a commercial disaster. We were about 30 days away from running out of money. Total bankruptcy was staring us in the face. I had to call the CEO of Sega, Irimajiri-san, who had invested $7 million in us to build their next-generation console technology. I had to tell him that our technology was the wrong approach, that we wouldn't be able to deliver the contract as promised. And yet, if he didn't pay us the remaining balance of the contract, we would go out of business. It was the most humbling moment of my life, to ask for help, to admit failure, and to ask for the grace to survive based on nothing but the hope of what we could build next. Irimajiri-san, in an act of extraordinary kindness and vision, gave us that money. He saved NVIDIA. That experience taught me that humility is not about being small. It is about being honest with the physics of the situation. It taught me that NVIDIA must always operate as if we are 30 days from bankruptcy. That sense of urgency, that desperate need to solve the most impossible problems because our survival depends on it, is the very soul of this company. This is why we have won the war of philosophies. While the rest of the industry was focused on making devices thinner or more elegant, we were focused on making the computer an AI factory. We realized that the computer is no longer just a tool for retrieval, asking a machine to find a file or a web page. The computer is now a generator. It takes data and electricity and it produces intelligence. This intelligence is the new commodity of the global economy. And to produce it, you need a level of computation that the CPU can never provide. You need accelerated computing. The $5 trillion roadmap we are currently seeing is the total replacement of the world's traditional data centers. Every single server, every switch, and every cable is being reinvented. For the last 60 years, we built data centers based on the CPU. But in the era of generative AI, the data center is the computer. The entire building is one giant processor. This is why we built Blackwell. This is why we built NVLink. We aren't just making chips. We are building the nervous system of the new industrial revolution. When you look at the comparison between a closed ecosystem and an open AI factory, you are looking at the difference between a refined past and an explosive future. I often tell people that the work of your life should be to build things that did not exist before you arrived. If it were easy, someone else would have done it already. We chose to build CUDA when no one understood what it was. We spent billions of dollars and decades of research on a platform that the world thought was a niche hobby. But we followed the logic of first principles. We knew that the world would eventually need a way to process massive amounts of data in parallel. We stayed the course because we had the resilience to be misunderstood for 20 years. That is the secret of NVIDIA. We are willing to suffer through the lean years and the skepticism because we believe in the physics of our vision. Our company is structured to support this speed. I don't have a traditional office. I don't sit in a mahogany tower. I move around. I sit with the engineers. We have a flat organization because in a world that moves at the speed of light, you cannot wait for information to travel through 5 layers of management. If you have an idea that challenges our strategy, I want to hear it today. We operate with a sense of urgency that borders on obsession. We run, don't walk. If you aren't running toward the future, someone else is, and they are going to get there first. The war was won the moment the world realized that intelligence can be industrialized. When you can use a machine to write code, to discover new drugs, to simulate the climate, and to design new materials, the value of that machine becomes infinite. The closed model of computing is about consumption. The accelerated model of computing is about production. We are providing the engines for the world's creators, for the world's scientists, and for the world's nations. This is the era of sovereign AI, where every country must own its own intelligence production. They cannot afford to outsource their culture and their knowledge to a foreign cloud. They need their own AI factories. When I look at the transition from software 1.0, where humans write every line of code, to software 2.0, where data writes the code, I see a world that is fundamentally more productive. We are no longer limited by the speed at which a human can type. We are now limited only by the amount of compute we can provide. And at NVIDIA, our job is to ensure that the supply of compute is never the bottleneck for human imagination. We are building the infrastructure that allows a single developer in their garage to have the power of a national laboratory. This is why I don't care about the petty rivalries of the tech world. I care about the physics of the problem. If the logic tells you that computing must be accelerated to solve the world's hardest problems, from curing cancer to achieving fusion energy, then you accelerate it. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait for the market to tell you it's okay. You run toward the fire. You embrace the pain of the engineering process. You welcome the suffering of solving an impossible thermal problem or a networking bottleneck, because on the other side of that suffering is a breakthrough that changes the world. The RTX 50 series and the Blackwell architecture represent the pinnacle of this philosophy. They are not just products, they are the manifestation of 30 years of resilience. They are the result of a company that refuses to accept the status quo. We are using AI to design the next generation of AI. We are using our own GPUs to simulate the digital twins of our factories in the Omniverse. We are living the future that we are selling to the world. And that is why the outcome was inevitable. We didn't win because we were bigger or had more resources. We won because we were the only ones willing to bet the entire company on the first principles of the future. We are moving into the age of physical AI. This is the next great frontier. It's not just about AI in a box or AI on a screen. It's about AI that can perceive, reason, and act in the physical world. It's about the robots that will work alongside us in our factories and the autonomous machines that will navigate our cities. To reach this point, we had to solve the impossible problem of world-scale simulation. We had to build a digital twin of reality so that these AIs could practice 1,000,000 times before they ever touched a piece of metal. This is the ultimate software 2.0 challenge, and we have built the only stack in the world capable of handling it. I want you to think about the iPhone moment we are in. When the iPhone arrived, it changed how we interacted with the digital world. But the generative AI revolution is changing how the digital world interacts with us. It is the first technology in history that is not just a tool, but a collaborator. And a collaborator needs a brain that is fast, efficient, and infinitely scalable. That brain is accelerated computing. That brain is NVIDIA. The logic of the transition is irrefutable. Every company in the world is now an AI company. Every country is now an AI nation, and they are all looking for the same thing: the ability to generate intelligence at the speed of thought. We are providing the furnace for that intelligence. We are providing the AI factory. The war of the old world was about who could sell the most devices. The war of the new world is about who can produce the most intelligence. And we have spent 30 years preparing for this specific battle. We are still that company that is 30 days from bankruptcy. We still have that hunger. We still have that desperation to solve the next impossible problem. We don't rest on our success. We use it as fuel to run even faster, because the future is not a destination, it is a direction. And we are pointing the world toward a future of abundance, a future where intelligence is as accessible as electricity, and a future where the impossible is just a problem that hasn't been solved by accelerated computing yet. And preparing for that battle means understanding that the center of gravity in the world's economy has shifted from the device in your pocket to the AI factory in the data center. People ask me about the competition, about how we stay ahead of the giants. It's because we aren't trying to build a better phone or a more beautiful tablet. We are building the engine of human intelligence. When the history of this era is written, it won't be a story about who had the best consumer ecosystem. It will be a story about who provided the world with the power to reason. That is the fundamental difference. One philosophy is about creating a beautiful, closed garden where you can consume content. Our philosophy is about building a massive open power plant where you can generate the future. We are not competing for your screen time. We are competing for the ability of your ideas to manifest in reality. This is why I say the 50 series and our Blackwell architecture are the ultimate winners of this philosophical war. They represent the democratization of the supercomputer. For the first time, the same architecture used by the largest research labs on the planet is available to you, sitting right on your desk. This is a first principle of our strategy. We don't hold back. We don't believe in mobile first or consumer light. We believe in AI first. Every single transistor we design is intended to move the needle of what is possible in the realm of intelligence. If you are a developer, a gamer, or a scientist, you now have the keys to the factory. You can train your own models, you can simulate your own worlds, and you can deploy your own AI agents. You are no longer just a user within someone else's ecosystem. You are the architect of your own. To achieve this, we had to be incredibly resilient. We had to endure the pain and suffering of building a full-stack platform when the world only wanted a component. I remember the early days of CUDA around 2006 and 2007. Our stock price was under immense pressure. Analysts said we were losing our way. They said we were spending too much on a software platform that no one understood. But we stayed the course because we followed the first principles of the technology. We knew that general purpose computing was hitting a wall. We knew that the future of science and industry required parallel processing. We were willing to be misunderstood for 15 years. That is the price of winning. You have to be willing to look like you are losing for a very long time. At NVIDIA, our flat structure is what allows us to maintain this focus. I don't have a corporate ladder to climb. I have a mission to execute. We operate as one giant team. When we hit a wall in thermal management for the 50 series, it isn't just a hardware problem. It's a physics problem that requires the software team, the chip team, and the systems team to work together in real time. We don't have silos. We have a shared obsession with solving the impossible. This is why we move faster than the competition. While they are busy with committee meetings and middle management reviews, we are already on to the next breakthrough. We run, don't walk. We operate with the desperation of a startup that is 30 days from bankruptcy, because in this industry, complacency is the first step toward extinction. We are now moving into the era of agentic AI. This is the next phase of our roadmap. A chatbot is a tool you talk to, but an agent is a digital employee that works for you. These agents will live on your 50 series GPUs. They will understand your intent, use tools, and execute complex tasks. They will write code, manage your logistics, and help you design new products. This is the death of the app as we know it. In the old world, you went to an app to do a task. In the new world, the agent performs the task for you across the entire digital and physical landscape. This shift is what happens when you win the war of compute density. You move from retrieval to autonomous agency. The Omniverse is the final piece of this puzzle. It is the digital twin of the world. To solve the problems of the physical world, to make robots walk and cars drive, you have to be able to simulate reality with perfect fidelity. We have built a world that obeys the laws of physics so that AI can learn. This is how we are solving the Moravec paradox, the idea that what is easy for humans is hard for computers. By simulating light, gravity, and friction at Blackwell speeds, we are teaching AI to move with the same grace and intuition as a human. This is the software 2.0 for the physical world, and it is only possible because we chose to build the factory, not just the device. I want you to understand the urgency of this moment. We are at the start of a $5 trillion transition. The entire world's computing infrastructure is being recycled. If you aren't running toward accelerated computing, you are standing still in a world that is moving at warp speed. Don't wait for the technology to become comfortable. If it's comfortable, it's already old. Run toward the friction. Run toward the problems that look impossible. That is where the character is built, and that is where the future is won. NVIDIA is not a company that looks back. We don't celebrate our victories for very long because we are too busy worrying about the next failure. We stay humble because we know how close we came to not being here. We remember the Denny's tables. We remember the Riva 128. We remember the days when we were 30 days from the end. That memory is our greatest strength. It keeps us hungry, it keeps us focused, and it ensures that we will never stop running. The logical conclusion of this journey is irrefutable. The era of the central processor as the king of computing is over. The era of the accelerated AI factory is the new reality. We have won the war of philosophies by betting on the infinite potential of human intelligence amplified by machines. We have moved from a world of consumption to a world of creation, and we are putting that power in your hands. This is the truth I promise to share. The future is not something that is happening to us. It is something we are generating, pixel by pixel, token by token, right now. I am incredibly excited to see what you will create with these tools. You are the architects of the next industrial revolution. You are the ones who will use this intelligence to heal the planet, cure diseases, and expand the horizons of what it means to be human. We provide the engine, but you provide the soul. We provide the factory, but you provide the vision. I want to thank you for being on this journey with us. Whether you are a gamer, a developer, or a researcher, you are part of the NVIDIA soul. Your passion and your drive are what keep us running. Before I go, I want to make sure we keep this community growing. If you believe in this vision of an accelerated future, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It helps us reach more people who want to be part of this revolution. And if you have questions about the 50 series, about Blackwell, or about how to build your own AI agents, please leave them in the comments below. I will be looking through them, and I, Jensen, will respond to your questions quickly. I want to know what you're planning to build. I want to know what impossible problem you're going to solve today. The future is bright, it is fast, and it belongs to the learners. Run, don't walk. I'll see you in the future.